What up, witches? You may have noticed that my last two recent videos are now gone. I was not feeling just the whole way they were done. Not really what I wanted to present, and so, you know, I always have the option to delete them and start over. Actually, I put them on private. I didn't actually delete them, just in case I ever get the urge to put them back up. But yeah, I don't know, something about them was just not correct. So we're gonna start here. Essentially what was said in them was, there was one about failure and how I feel like I fail at a lot of things, and that I feel like I need to do some inner child work to work on that, and that maybe that's why I'm feeling that way. Like maybe it's something from my past that I need to work on. So then for the whole week after that, I decided to do a lot of inner child work. I did the inner child meditation, like guided meditation, and I did like the write a letter to your younger self type of inner child work releasing ritual, and then I did some journal prompts. But it was while I was writing the letter and also doing the journal prompts that I remembered that I had already been doing this work, and it kind of led me to the final realization of, like, it wasn't so much inner child work that I needed to do, but I needed to break my disconnect between feeling like I need to it's either holistic health or nothing else. Like it can't be holistic health and traditional medication working together in one. So that's essentially what I came up with in the end, but that's not what we're gonna be talking about. I wanted to actually talk about all the like how to do inner child work healing through journaling. And this was personally my favorite method, and it's what I had done years ago, and I kind of forgot about it, and I needed to get back into it. I need to get back into it. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. So I found my old journal from 2017, and what I called it was my self-discovery journal, which is basically inner child work. You know, that's, to me, they fall under the same category because you can't have self-discovery without doing inner child work. So they're kind of under the same umbrella. So what I would suggest is, number one, the journal that you need to write in. So you need to have one that's like specifically for inner child work and healing, self-discovery, anything like that. Like that needs to be its own separate journal. I feel like there shouldn't be other things clogging it up. And if you ever want to look back and like look through all the things you've written, it needs to be the only thing in the book. So that's the first thing I'm going to say, is get a dedicated journal for inner child work or inner child healing. When it comes to the journal, it obviously depends on the type of person. For me personally, I like this one. This is the one that I chose to use. This is the one that I started back in 2017, and I just called it self-discovery journal, and is what it said. And to me, this size is not intimidating. I'm going to show just a blank page. So if I was to do a spread, I would only have to fill up this page. Obviously, if I wanted to fill more, I could go over to this page. But for me, I feel like I needed a smaller book because I needed to be able to not feel so intimidated by a large journal or by a large page. Like there's nothing saying you need a gigantic book or even like a regular 8.5 by 11 book. I don't know what size this is, but it's pretty small. And personally, I like this one. I got one that has like really nice feeling paper. I like the cover. It's not leather, but you know, it feels nice. So it's a nice journal because I like holding it. I like working with it. It fits in the palm of my hand, which is something that I need. For other people, they might need a big journal. Maybe they feel better writing large. Maybe they feel better doing large spreads. For me personally, this is just something that worked for me. So the size of the journal, the weight of the journal, the type of paper is also something that you want to think about, because those really cheap, you can get a really cheap journal from like Dollar Tree, but the paper feels sandy, you know that cheap paper that feels kind of sandy, so it might put you off like wanting to write in your journal. So make sure you get a journal that feels nice to write in, so that way you actually want to do it. Another thing is you can have a dedicated pen, so that way it feels special when you're doing it, and it kind of becomes a ritual of you holding like this one special pen for journal work. But also you could just have fun with it. Like with mine, I'm just gonna flip through briefly so you can see. Some of the pages have like really bright colors. Some of them are written on with like almost neon ink. And that is something that I like. I like having bright pages. I like having the pages be different. Some of them are just black, but some of them have like bright color ink and they're happy and they're bright. And so that's another thing to think about, is the type of tool you're using when you're going to be doing these inner child work, like journal prompts and writing. Now, when it comes to the actual prompts, you can Google like a list of inner child healing questions, a list of inner child journal prompts. But for me personally, what I found the best thing to do to find like prompts that would help me or that I felt like I needed was I went on Pinterest. And instead of searching inner child healing, I searched like self-discovery or like questions to make you think or questions to help you discover something about yourself, or like deep questions, like stuff like that. And those are usually the questions that you need. They're not called what you want them to be called, but it doesn't matter what they're called. They're still inner child healing questions, even if they're not necessarily called that at the top of the list. So just a couple of things. Like I have really basic ones from like things that make me happy to more like just, I guess, focused ones, like what's bothering me and why, like that type of thing that's more current, which I still think is important. And then I have like what scares me the most. There's also prompts of like writing letters to your younger self, and it doesn't have to be so vague. You can even do like writing a letter to my 2-year-old self, writing a letter to my 4-year-old self, to my 5-year-old, 6-year-old. You know, you can break it down into different stages. It can be a group, like writing letters to my childhood self, and then writing letters to my teenage self, writing letters to my young adult. You know, you can break it down into different stages, so that way you can get out everything you need to get out, and it doesn't have to feel so daunting to feel like you have to write a letter to your entire childhood self. You can break it down into different parts. Another thing when it comes to doing like inner child work and journaling, you never want to push yourself to do it. Like if you're not feeling like it's something that you want to do, because then you might feel like rushed. I know that's something that I have a problem with. I constantly feel rushed. I always feel like I'm in a hurry. I always feel like I'm late. Like I always need to do something now, and I need to finish it immediately. So when I do this is a nice time to just take a break and remind myself, like, you don't need to rush this. You just need to do it. And like, there's no need to hurry up and try to get it done. You know, a lot of the times I'll like not write neatly because I'm just trying to get it down and get it done. I do that on my planner all the time. And I'm like, what am I rushing for? Like, I'm literally just writing out my planner. What am I rushing for? So you want to make sure you're in like a good headspace to be able to do the journaling work. You don't want it to be something where like, oh, I have to go to bed in 10 minutes. So I'm going to hurry up and get something done before the 10 minutes are up. I mean, unless that's what works for you. But most of the time you want to be calm and relaxed, so that way you can actually dig deep and like really do the work that you need to do. A lot of the journal prompts help me understand like why I react to things the way that I do. It even helped me remember some things that I had forgotten. And so it's nice to be able to like really remember and hone in and figure out exactly why you do the things you do and why you are the way you are, because that's important. Because once you understand it, if it's something you don't mind, then that's fine. But if it's something you want to fix, you need to understand where it comes from first. And like I said, this is just one way to do inner child healing. In that week, I read a book. I didn't finish it, but I am going to finish it. I did the meditation. I did there's rituals you can do that's kind of like journal prompts, where you can write letters to the people that you feel like you need to write to in your past. But instead of it being a journal, you then burn a letter when you're done, so that way you can get everything out that you need to get out, and then you can just release it. So I feel like that might be something that you want to do in between, like when you feel like you reached a point where you like realize, okay, I need to let something go. That might be something that'd be good, is to, you know, get the journal prompt to help you realize what it is. And then once you realize what it is, you can write a letter to whoever it is in your past that you need to write a letter to, even if it's yourself, because a lot of times it's not always somebody else that people need to forgive, but it's themselves. And they need to realize, you know, I was a child and I might have did things that I didn't really want to do, I didn't mean to do, but you know, you were a child, you need to forgive yourself and let that stuff go. So it's not always somebody else, you know, outside. But if it is, you can also write a letter to that person and then also release that. So I will have some of like my favorite self-discovery or inner child healing type work questions in the doodad. But yeah, this was just basically like a beginning type of thing, or just like an idea of what people can do when they want to do inner child healing with journal work, because that's just something that works for me. It was my favorite method. It's what I like to do, and it's what I realized I had already been doing without even realizing it. So yeah. That's the method that I go with. That's the method that I'm going with currently at the moment. You know, I might do some other stuff, but currently that's the one that's working for me, and it's the one I enjoy the most, especially because I like writing things down and having things concrete. Maybe because I'm an artist and I draw and stuff, so having it written down just feels like concrete to me. It feels better. It can also be something that you do digitally. It doesn't have to be physically written down. Like this can be typed. This can be like written on the iPad, like when you write, or like written in your notes. I know there's phones where you can like write on them, so it doesn't technically have to be a journal. This can be something that you do on an app. This can be something that you have like a specific notes section for, a specific folder in your phone, a specific folder on your computer. So don't just think it has to be something that's literally just concrete. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I don't want this to be too entirely long, but yeah, I feel better about this one than I did about the other two. So sorry if you enjoyed those two, but they're gone because they're not really what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's all. Okay, bye. Also, I forgot to say, I am still having the 50% off sale in my witchy Etsy shop. I'm closing that shop down because I no longer want to monetize it in this way. I don't want to feel like every time I'm learning something new, I'm trying to figure out a way to sell the tools associated with it. So yeah, that shop's gonna be gone. So 50% sale going on in it right now. Okay, bye.